providing a brief overview and walkthrough of the library databases at Southeastern. These databases are going to be super important to any research you do, so therefore try to pay attention to this video and get as much as you can from it. So first, I'm just going to Google Southeastern Louisiana University Library. It's just easier for me. You can also access the library page from the Southeastern website, but this is just what I prefer. So as you can see, it pulls up a whole list of different resources. The homepage also includes this cool Ask a Librarian option. So if you're just stuck with your research, or you don't know where to go, or you need help finding a specific source, you can chat with them, email, text, or call, and they will provide you with assistance. So for this class, mainly we are going to be using the articles and databases. So I'm going to click on that top bar, and then I can search databases by subject, by name, or by favorite databases. So I'm going to search by English, since this is an English class, and then it pulls up all of these recommended resources. My two favorite databases to use are JSTOR and Project Muse. I like them because it is very easy to find the information on the source, and they have just so many options and so many different disciplines that they cover. It is really hard to not be able to find something on either of these databases. For this class, I would highly suggest starting with JSTOR and Project Muse, and then if you still can't find anything else, then branch out to different databases, but start with JSTOR and Project Muse. So I'm going to click on JSTOR, and then it will pull up this advanced search. Personally, I prefer just searching through the home page. Again, personal preference. As you get researching more and learn how to use these databases, you're going to find your own preferences and your own methods of research, but this is mine. So another thing with researching is that I have to figure out the keywords that will help me to best find what I am looking for. It is definitely a process of widening and narrowing my search based on what I need. So to start out, let's say that I'm writing a paper on Phantomina, which is a novella. So I'm going to search Phantomina. I'll start there. So it pulls up 142 results. So that's quite a bit to go through. However, I'm not really seeing anything that I feel applies to my research or my topic. So then I might narrow down my search a little bit. So I might type in Phantomina and gender. You do need to put quotation marks around each word that you want to search because it will search that category. So then I'll just press enter. All right, so then as y'all can see, it narrowed down my results to 103. So maybe I look through the articles, the titles, and this title stands out to me. It seems like it might be relevant to what I'm talking about. So I can click on it. And my computer internet is being super slow today, so I pulled it up earlier. So basically when you click on it, this is what's going to appear. You have your title, you have what kind of source it is. So like this one, y'all will mainly be looking at journal articles and chapters from books for this class. Those are generally the best sources to use, unless you're looking at a whole book, but that's probably for another time. So again, JSTOR has all of this information that you need to cite your source right here, which is awesome and so convenient. And also, I do not typically recommend that my students use citation generators, but a great thing about JSTOR is that the citation generators are actually accurate. So I pressed on it and it pulled up a whole MLA citation for me, which is awesome. So when I'm looking at my source, I might again read the title, then I'm going to look at the intro, or a lot of articles have what is called an abstract. So the abstract basically just gives a basic overview of the research and of the work and what they're talking about. This only has an intro, but intros typically should do the same thing. So when I am looking at my articles, I'm going to start by looking at either the intro or the abstract to see if this article indeed seems relevant to me. So I might read through, and if I decide that there's nothing that seems helpful, then I move on to the next article. If I am reading and it's like, okay, this might be very helpful to what I'm researching, then I might continue to read through it. You can scan through it. If you scan and nothing seems relevant after that, then just move on. If you scan and it seems like there's a lot of great stuff, then you might choose that article and bring it into your paper. So another great tool that JSTOR has, and a lot of other databases do, is that they will list the references of the article that this writer used. So maybe I see a reference that seems super helpful, or I really like this article and I really like what they're saying. I might look at the references and look up the article that they are referencing and use that as another source for my paper, if there's anything that seems super helpful and I can find it. So other than that, don't use Google search to look for resources unless I state otherwise. Don't use Google databases, or Google Scholar, that's what it's called. Basically, it's because Google Scholar has a lot of great stuff, yes, but a lot of the sources are not good. So until you learn how to really use the databases and look for sources that are reliable, just avoid Google Scholar. Don't use it for this class. I also would like to point out that if I'm looking up a newer text, there probably aren't going to be a lot of articles on that text. So instead of looking up that text specifically, I might look up a category that text might fall into. So let's say that I am writing an essay on Talia Lakshmi Kalori, what we fed to the manticore. When I search that, probably I'm not going to get a lot of results. So maybe I can look up literature about animals. So as y'all can see, I have different book chapters and journal articles that show up. And maybe if I go in and read some about what they're saying, there might be ideas that relate to my own project, even if it's not about the text specifically. I might relate those ideas to the text and to my own argument. So that is definitely something to keep in mind. Again, research. It is very important that you work on narrowing and widening your search based on your needs. So other than that, that is basically an overview of using the databases, and yes.